Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another night of North American action here at the StarLadder StarSeries Season 14, presented by iLeague, G2A, eGaming Bets, and CSGO Fast. My name is Blue. I will be your one and unfortunately only caster for this evening. I got thrown onto this match with a little bit of a short notice, so I did not want to bother any of the other North American casters with a match that was of sort of short notice to them. So we're just gonna go right into this one. Just be me tonight, so I do apologize for any issues that may arise because of the solo cast, but it's gonna be Games Academy, who unfortunately to I think some North American Counter-Strike viewers may not be a team that's very well noticed. If that's a word, just as of yet here in the scene, but they actually have quite a bit of prowess about them. I recently saw them perform at the Win Out 20K LAN that happened back in like early September, if I remember correctly. They did pretty well there. They didn't manage to go super duper far in the tournament. I think they ended up getting around like somewhere between like, I think they got like, actually I think they placed like 3rd or 4th. I'm trying to remember exactly because it was a little bit ago, but if I remember correctly, they got somewhere in like the top 5 or 4 around there, and they did pretty well, sort of as a team that was appearing for the first time at a big North American LAN. So definitely not a team that's going to get swiped aside against Enemy, especially when you consider some of the struggles that Enemy has been having, especially on some more of these dynamic maps as well, like Inferno and like over on Mirage, which are going to be 2 of the potential maps that we could be played this evening. This is actually going to be the pick from Enemy, interestingly enough, so I'm curious to see how they've sort of formed themselves up here, because we've seen some really good matches they've played here in the past, and we've also seen some really bad matches that we've seen Enemy play here in the past. I'm trying to think of one more recent, but they only managed to get like 2 to 3 rounds onto the board despite the map being their pick. So it's interesting as we keep seeing this one pop up as a map that this team likes to pick, but just not really able to perform so well in it as they try to work out those issues. Coming into this season, of course, they were, for ESEA, ESL Pro League at the very least, they were sort of one of the move-up teams coming back up from Premier. They've been able to have, like we said before, it's basically been a story of some really good matchups and some really bad matches. But this Games Academy team coming up from Brazil to play in the North American scene, just like Luminosity was a little while ago, they have some big ways about them as well here, and we're going to see another chance to perform tonight against one of sort of the mid-tier in North America. So again, it's going to be SHOOWTiME, Phoenix, Lucas, Taco, and I believe it's just pronounced Hen, going up against the members of Enemy, which once more is going to be Uber, Relyks, koosta, MAiNLiNE, and Anomaly. And here we go, folks. Round number 1 over here on Inferno, getting started right now with Games Academy having to start off back over here on the T side, and Enemy jumping over to the CT side to see how their defense fares off here right at the beginning. And for Games Academy, they just take it nice and slow here, but some nice aggression from Enemy over on Banana. It does have the potential to catch quite a few of the members from Games Academy as they go for the entry, but nope, that's not going to be happening there. Taco picking up the first kill right off for the get-go there, finding that headshot in the MAiNLiNE. Games Academy don't press forward any more than that. In fact, they're pretty smart about this. Knowing that they saw at least 2 to 3 of these players moving up Banana, they do decide to fall back towards middle. Watch out for some counter-aggression from the CT side of things. Won't catch it, but obviously some very well-earned rotation comes out from Enemy as well, back over there towards the B site. And it looks like they're going to use one of these players to press his way through the mid-choke point, try to split a wedge between some of the reinforcements that could be coming in from that A site, and he's going to be able to do that here. It's going to be Lucas that goes his way back through arches, and koosta, just in case they are trying to entry, because they didn't get much else info besides that. He's going to fall back. Anomaly doing his own to hold things off for the time being, but Hen is going to be able to take him back down there as he eliminates him. Taco wrapped around the corner by the new spot there too, takes him down. And just like that, Games Academy onto the site and into a 4-on-2 with the rest of Enemy. Trying to rotate him from that A site, but you can already see this site been very well contained. That's going to be a nice shot from koosta there, as he does manage to get a little bit lucky and find Taco through the smoke at a pretty predictable position, but still 2-on-3. These two are trying to go for basically a blind retake at this point. They don't really have too much intel as to where some of these players are. They definitely spotted Phoenix back over there by first box, but the rest of this is going to get held off pretty easily, and as soon as they kill one, the other one's going to be pretty easy to predict. He comes back in there through CT, and that is an easy kill indeed for Lucas to grab. So Games Academy, they're going to pick up the first round here, the Brazilians, and as for Enemy, they're going to have a little bit more work to do before they can get their first point onto the board. But that was, as we are seeing the compliment coming out in the chat now from Taco, it was a very nice shot from koosta, being able to find him there. A little bit lucky, but he picks it off. And they get at least a couple kills here, so not a perfect round from Games Academy just as of yet, but we can see their haste in trying to go for the big upgraded arsenal here right from the beginning of their buys here on the Games Academy side of things, as they'll immediately go for 4 AKs, 1 MAC-10 over here on a SHOOWTiME, in hopes that he's going to be able to get a little bit more of a close encounter play, and Enemy as well, not going to take that last round without a little bit more resistance coming up here in the second, as they go for their armor pistol buy-ups here too. Uber, Relyks, not MAiNLiNE, or not Machine, MAiNLiNE, and Anomaly, all going for those big upgrades there onto the $500 pistols. And koosta, as he is the opper, and I'm assuming he wants to save up for that, doesn't go for the armor buy behind his own pistol just as of yet, just goes for the upgrade, so he can at the very least on the offensive side stay just as even as the rest of his team. And we can see here again, very slow play, but Tacio, ooh, very ballsy repeat as he does get dinked down to 8 HP. Koosta is able to find the correction kill there to take him back down. And this could be a free AK on the ground too. They have the bomb carrier watching it. This is going to be Phoenix over here, back down sitting in Mexico. And SHOOWTiME, of course, finding the entry onto the B site, picks up another kill, but this is just going to be Phoenix so far. Unloading onto some of these players, picking up one. Relyks is going to try to go for the flank, as we can see back over here, to catch some of them, and he is indeed going to find Lucas. So kills being traded a little bit here, and keep in mind, too, that bomb is actually still down in Mexico right now, and with Relyks dropping down, they might be able to find him. However, as Henrique comes back over here, he's going to be able to pick up Relyks, and Uber very quickly shut down any chance of that. And Games Academy, after a little bit of a bumpy start there, do retake control and ultimately just end it by eliminating everybody on enemy. Interesting spot, though, to put the bomb carrier, because as soon as that we saw that big white peak come out there from the members of enemy, he was sort of stuck there unless he wanted to go all the way through the crawl space and try to go around ultimate, which would have wasted a lot of time. So they kind of stuck themselves into that situation, as it was a pretty interesting spot to place Phoenix with the bomb. But Nate gonna go deep here. It does do a nice amount of damage back over there into Phoenix to bring him down to 74 HP. Nonetheless, though, 2 kills already up onto the board, and a little bit of team damage coming in there too. But it'll be Hen as he scores 2 kills, and Tacio finds a third back over here by the mid choke point. Already down to just 2 left alive here for the members of enemy. And indeed, Uber is actually gonna take out Relyks accidentally, and then Hen once again is just gonna be able to clean things up back over there to finish off Uber. And that one up with the 3rd point onto the board for Games Academy. Of course, we don't expect too much to happen there in that 3rd round on enemy side of things, just because that's the big save round for themselves. But nonetheless, now here in the 4th, they'll be able to get their buy-ups for the first time. Of course, we see the glass cannon op coming out there from Koosta too. He did choose to go for the utility buy over getting that light armor there, so we're going to see him just stick with that for now. Very, very risky, just because of how heavily Games Academy has been playing towards middle here. So if he peeks this out at the wrong time and gets tagged, there's a pretty big chance he could fall before he even gets the opportunity to take a shot out here, and the chance is going to spring right now. It does get pegged a little bit down to 84 HP, but ultimately Tacio not really going to be able to get too big of an angle onto him, so won't be finding any frags just as of yet. And again, Games Academy still sticking with, at least at the beginning of this round, that very, very slow play that so far they've been rolling with. A little bit more mindful this time, as you can see with that Molotov, of that extra aggression that they did toss out back over towards Banana on the pistol round. So considering they hadn't investigated anything there just as of yet, they're going to play it safe, try to molly that player out of position, because of course they do have the guns into their hands now, but ultimately are only going to end up wasting that molly. And now Tacio as well, back over there towards the mid choke point, trying to do the same thing there, just toss those mollies, hoping they can sort of fly people out of positions or throw them for fakes. But now with the timer getting a little bit lower, down to 45 seconds now, the rest of GA, they're going to solidify themselves back over here towards the B site, and then it'll be Relyks and Uber that have to try and hold things off here, as the 2 players waiting for those rotations to come back in. Not anybody really moving in just as of yet either. You can see they're fairly heavily committed to the A site, but now the nades are going to roll, and they see this push is coming, so we'll see how well they can hold. Not popping out just yet. Relyks is going to try to go for a kill, but ultimately is going to fail. Lucas and SHOOWTiME picking up 1 and 2 kills. No response at all here coming out from the members of enemy. Only getting that little bit of damage back over there onto Hen, and he's dropped down to 12 HP because of that, but with 4 other players basically all at full HP as well, still being left alive and well here, should be a fairly easy cleanup for Games Academy. But one of the players here going to get a little bit aggressive, this being SHOOWTiME, as I think he knows with this 3-on-5 situation that's going on here, it is going to be a pretty hard retake to have happen. So this is actually some pretty good intuition from SHOOWTiME, sort of knowing that they wouldn't be going for this to begin with, and now he's actually going to move out and try to find a kill. Unfortunately, his first attempt to do so was back over here onto Anomaly, and although he does get tagged down to 90, he's ultimately just going to give himself away. And there's Koosta. There's the Koosta, the big opera we know and love to see come into play here in these ones. But Phoenix almost gets the double kill there. Tacio is going to be able to come in there and finish off the job, but he almost gets that double kill. Thankfully, Anomaly's there for the response at the very least, so they pick up 1 more. But still, ultimately, the round goes to Games Academy, and those 2 losses there isn't really going to be anything that they won't be able to deal with. 1 player from enemy still makes it out of it alive, so they're going to have at least 1 rifle in this round, but that'll really be the only thing they have. We can see the upgrades coming out this time. Not too much. Uber, Relyks. Uber's the only player with armor with the exception of MAiNLiNE there, considering he saved it from the previous round. And the rest of these guys as well, just on the upgraded pistols with nothing really sitting behind it. A couple smokes here and there, but that's about it. And MAiNLiNE actually getting very, very aggressive here now with this M4. He's got to be careful because you have to remember, of course, he's the only player with a big rifle this time. So if it gets itself into a position where it'll be unrecoverable once he goes down, that's going to be that big gun. And I'm actually a little bit surprised to see this too, just as I've noticed this now, is that they've gone for the 4 stack on the A site. So if they push B and he goes down, there's no way they're going to be able to recover that rifle. Oftentimes, you can see an aggressive strategy employed in this sort of situation, and they'll be able to recover that just with another player sitting behind it, but that's not going to happen here. And once again, Tacio and Hen just clearing things out, essentially a 3-for-1 trade-off there, and Uber taking some heavy hits as well, just down to 12 HP now, as the only player still left in this site. Has a good position about him, but he's going to give it away, as SHOOWTiME, unfortunately, very poor timing for that last member of enemy there, as he's going to be left out in the open just as Games Academy go out for the peak, so they'll be able to dispatch of the defenses on the A site once again, and now it's just MAiNLiNE, so another What is for the most part a walkover round here for Games Academy. Taco, of course, falls, but he picked up 2 kills before doing so he's done his part here and shouldn't really be able to bite that too much in terms of the economy. And Games Academy looking very, very strong indeed. As enemy still struggling to hold things off here. As just the basics, I mean, we look at the entries and whatnot here as well. Things are not looking so strong there. And another key factor, I mean, granted, we've only seen 1 big gun round so far here, and we'll talk about this just because we're in garbage time right now. But we've only really seen 1 key gun round here, but this is a reoccurrence of some things we've been seeing from enemy a lot. And that's the sort of weak side of communication that we've seen on the CT side, time and time again from enemy. We saw there too, they were all just plastered in their default positions. Not a whole lot of movement coming out there from enemy until the actual take begins. So by the time we see the members of Games Academy rolling into that B site there, the A rotations, they're not going to be able to come in there quick enough. You know that timer's getting low. You don't have a lot of intel as of yet, and sometimes we do see a lot of teams sort of moving 1, sometimes even 2 players either over towards arch side or going over towards highway near CT spawn just to get a floater in between in the event that that push does come in very quickly like we saw in that gun round before. We didn't see that at all from enemy though. Everybody just stuck in their spots, and I mean, even if we did see the call coming out at its earliest possible point, the rotation just would not have been fast enough as there's not enough preemptive communication going on to allow for things like this to happen. Not sure if the in-game leading is still a problem as it was sort of towards the beginning of the season, but there is definitely still some weak spots there on the CT side of enemy that they're going to have to make up for very, very quickly here, otherwise they're going to fall behind. But Relyks gets this nice spot on Henrique there. He's going to be able to take him down with a nice headshot spots with the M4. So down goes the Opera from the side of Games Academy. Beyond that, though, not too much else being found out except for that stack there, so that's a good positioning now being taken up by the members of enemy, but they still have to hold off this main take, which has been their biggest crux so far here in a lot of these rounds. The entries from Games Academy have just been strong time and time again. And now we can see Games Academy, 2 of their players at least, armed with the bomb as well, sneaking their way up through Long Hole inside of the apartments, getting ready to make their way out on that site, and they're going to go for it right now. Anomaly seems to think it's coming from port side. All this pressure on the main line, but thankfully there's a good flash that goes over onto the T, so they're not going to be able to see too much. Nonetheless, a 1-for-1 trade starts things off, and they've got a good crossfire going on here too from the side of enemy, just knocking them out 1 by 1. A great shot from Anomaly shuts down Lucas, and now it's just Phoenix over here trying to find his way into the site. And it's not really going to end up happening so well, as Anomaly once again will just close things out there from that safe corner, tucks him away. And now we finally have enemy with a good round onto the board. And that obviously was a lot better that time around, just on the communicative front there. Got the call out early. They saw that stack that smoked. They knew they were holding Banana pretty heavily. And that's part of why it happened so well, too, because of that aggressive stance they took back over there on Banana, because of how heavily they were pushing into that. It's pretty obvious that nothing was going to come back over towards the B site, so they could locate a couple extra assets over there towards A. They knew the take would have had to come in from that direction. And overall, after losing that first player on the side of Games Academy, they were split to some degree, but we're going to go right into the action here. Koosta already up to 2 frags on this round, and Handy doesn't even want to take a risk on that one too. He's going to have to fall back completely, hoping to save that up. With these 2 frags already being picked up, that blind aggression from GA doesn't go so well, and this entry over here too, trying to work a dual take back over on A. That's not gone so well either, as Anomaly, he's going to pick up the first kill. He should know SHOOWTiME is here, and he definitely should have spotted him right there. So MAiNLiNE should be able to dispatch him, but he does miss the first opportunity. More players are coming in as SHOOWTiME does steal away 1 kill, but there's the trade we were expecting from MAiNLiNE. Now it's just Hen trying to find something, but doesn't fully check that safe covey over there, so Uber is going to be able to take him down. And 2 on the board. A very clean round as well for enemy. And not only this, but they're going to get a free op out of this play. Actually, well, they still had an op from the previous one, but they're going to be able to save that op, most importantly. I didn't mention that before, but this is something else that they do manage to keep going through. And the longer they can keep this rifle at their disposal, the better. Because now they've completely broken Games Academy. And they're going to be able to more than likely get at least a 3rd point onto the board off of the hinges of this play right here. So, as we've already seen, Games Academy not going to be able to do all that much this round. They've got a couple players with armor behind those Tech 9s, but the utility has to be used very well here too, otherwise this Opera might be able to shut things down. But on the initial push, there's Koosta picking up 1, trying to find the second, but he misses. So now he's got to give away his position around the corner here, tries to go for the flick shot, but now he's blinded. He's going to get pushed into a corner, but Games Academy don't want to commit just as of yet. Koosta missing yet another shot here, but thankfully MAiNLiNE's out to play, and there's another missed shot as Phoenix and Taco pick up 2 kills. Now Anomaly, he's going to be able to come in here, and thankfully Relyks is in the play to clean things up. Could have been a bit of a disaster there from enemy. Does get scavenged, but nonetheless, Games Academy picking up those 2 kills. Not going to be the worst situation in the world, but also not getting a plant or anything out of that either, so not necessarily sure we could call that a great round for them. But that was really only a transitionary round as well, as they weren't completely destroyed just as of yet. They were broken to a point where they wouldn't have been able to afford those rifles, so they just take that as a Tech 9 lighter round for themselves, and now go right back into the rifle buys here in the 9th. And enemy going right back to that aggressive play back over here on Banana. Uber is going to be first in front this time, but Relyks sitting very close behind him. They don't decide to go around the corner with the exception of Uber just as of yet. And Uber is going to find some heat, so he does have to pull away from this one. So there's a lot of shots going off back over here by Alt Middle as well. And MAiNLiNE is going to be right at the front of this one. He's going to move out, try to find this kill here. A little bit unstable in the spray, but he does manage to pull through with it. And very unfortunate for Taco there, too. You can see it there at the bottom right of the screen. He's just going to miss that jump to get himself up onto the porch to find the response. So, once again, a free kill goes by the way of enemy to start off this 9th round here. And they'll be in a very good spot to start things off. Also getting this good amount of intel, too. They know that the B push isn't happening once again because of the aggressive positions taken up on Banana, so Uber's pushed into this one. They know it's not going to be coming in from there, and Koosta back over here in the long haul. It's going to take a flash to the face, but this is really only Games Academy just trying to spook some of the players, so nothing is really going to come out from that flash, unfortunately, as the rest of the team, they do fall back, and they are shifting things over towards the B site now, but we can already see here, too, this is really good. I talked about this issue before where, you know, Games Academy is trying to throw a couple fakes here and there, and enemy just weren't taking it at all. They're going to move at the very least the second player over here, but they're going to need more than this. It's good that they've done this at the very least, but they're definitely going to need a little more to keep this alive, and Relyks there, I think, is going to mess up that smoke a little bit, but as he pops out, unfortunately, will lose his teammate. Henny will be the one to take that one down, and Relyks starting to fall back a little bit here, is choosing his life over some frags and a trade, and that is going to give the bomb to plant. Lucas as well, still playing aggressive, and Lucas somehow gets that kill to Relyks too, through the smoke, takes him down. I don't even sure what sort of angle he had to take that on, but somehow he grabs that kill, and this pretty much kills the retake now. Koosta was peeking it, but Anomaly, you can see he's falling back into T-spawn right now, so a little bit of a disagreement on the comms from enemy as to whether they wanted to go for this or not, but Koosta ultimately does decide to fall back with his teammate now, with that op still in hand, choosing to try and save this one. And they learned from this last attempt, too, that they might have tried to get aggressive there and take them out. So Koosta's just going to be sitting stable on Banana, looking for some extra frags. Won't be finding them, of course, as everybody from Games Academy has decided to go the other direction. And just before we did have a little bit of a duel there between Hen and Koosta, Koosta does ultimately unpeak that angle and decide to fall back inside of T-spawn once again. So Games Academy strike back now. They're getting themselves back into a very comfortable position in the lead here, and they've already very much so overreached the sort of limit that we expect T-sided teams in North America to get over here on a map like Inferno, so they're very much so in the lead, not just in just this half, but in the overall sense of the game, too. It's going to be a lot of work that enemy does need to pull out in their second half already, even if they can swing this comeback now, bring it up to 9-6. 6 rounds on T-side is not bad at all. And we'll see another... It looks like might be a quick setup here to at the very least make some noise onto the B site. No commitment just as of yet, but from this one round where it already happened so swiftly that they couldn't rotate in for it in time, enemies calling over Koosta. They're going to do a bit of a trade out here. Koosta's going to move on to that B site to try and hold things with the op, and Relyks would have gone to A, but they sense the pressure a little bit early, and it's a good thing too. No smoke comes out though, so Koosta's going to be wide out in the open, picks up one kill. Uber finding another one. There's still flash, but nobody's pressuring Koosta, so he's going to be able to stay alive. Taco did find one kill, but it was traded back out by Relyks, so they're still holding on for now. 2 left alive from Games Academy, and they're trying to push their way, and they've gotten to the site, but it's not secure by any means at all. Hen pushes over there to try and hold back the push from Garden, and in the meantime, SHOOWTiME's going to be able to get this plant. This is going to be a legendary hold if they can pull it off here. There's Hen, he's finding one. He's got Koosta down to 19 HP, but Koosta pops right out, finds one kill. Now it's just Hen trying to pull this off in a 1-on-2. Down to 10 HPs. He can't find that trade kill over there on the Anomaly, and now Anomaly just going to wait things out. He's going to see this smoke, and this gives Hen a way back into the site, but they've given them too much time. And now this Molly, too, that's going to press him even more back. The defuse has already started on MAiNLiNE, and Hen's trying to get out of here, but this setup has just been too good now from enemy to hold him inside of construction. He's probably still going to be able to keep himself alive at the end of this, and he scavenges an op, but nonetheless, that was a good retake from enemy, and they knew just how disastrous that could have been if Hen pulled that off, so they play it safe. They just opt to nade him back out. Like I said before, they are going to let him save the op, but overall, they pick up the round, which at this point in the game is far more important, as the T's would have been able to go for a rebound on the next round anyway, and I'm pretty sure, actually, I don't think they had an op, so I think that's a free upgrade, if I'm remembering correctly from the previous round, but I could be wrong on this as well. Nonetheless, we can see, though, that Games Academy, their money is going to be just a little bit stretched here. Still, for the most part, a full buy at the hands of most of these players. The only player that's really limited by this round is going to be SHOOWTiME, as he's dropped down to a Galil. Everybody else has pretty much everything they need, though. And at this point, if they drop another round, looking at the money, still actually won't be in the worst situation in the world when you look at it. They might just, or apologies, I'm looking at the wrong team. Wow. Alright, so yeah, they will be pretty much broken after this round if they do end up dropping another one here, so... Games Academy, we'll see MAiNLiNE, tries to get aggressive, gets a whole lot of intel out of that play, but at a big cost to his HP, but the intel is definitely worth that peak. You sort of think of it in the long run of things, as now they can position themselves for exactly the push that would come out, should we still see Games Academy decide to go through with this, but because they've pretty much at least 3 of them had been spotted due to that play, they might have to sort of call things off, or at the very least, now they'll have to do an impromptu fake over here onto that B site, and Enemy have thrown this as well now. They've put 4 players onto that A site, hoping that they do indeed go through with it, which currently looks like the plan, but now these nades that are coming back into that B site too. Uber's actually not going to give himself a whole lot of room to see just how many nades are coming into that site, so he's called it now. You can see a big amount of rotations moving over at least 2 of these players, but nobody's even committing, so they're going to have to go back very quickly. Koosta's even half committed to this as well, so it's all on MAiNLiNE right now. He gets dropped down pretty low. He picks up 1 kill, but is very quickly traded back out by Phoenix, and Lucas gets an additional one by picking off koosta on the way back to that A site too. There's Lucas finding a second for himself as he shuts down Anomaly inside of the library, and at this point, unfortunately, Enemy again just put into a situation where they're not going to be able to retake it due to a bad call, and a really successful sort of, like as I said before, an impromptu fake off of the hands of Games Academy there. They knew they had been spotted, so they just throw the nades over, and Enemy just think, oh, they're just going to switch things up. It's that easy. It's not. There's Uber trying to line up an up shot there as they attempt to chase after these final 2 kills. Not going to be able to pick things up there, but might find this one. And oh, Uber with probably the worst timed unpeak in the world there, unscope in the world, and somehow Lucas and Relyks haven't noticed each other just yet, but now they're going to see it, and again, very poor timing there as Relyks turns his back. He picks up at least 1 kill, as we've said before, but on the T side, these kills are going to be very, very forgiving indeed, and Enemy, it's going to hurt them a lot more than it hurts Games Academy, especially with them already winning the round, now leading by 3 once again up to 7 points, and for Enemy, completely broken back onto the pistols, not even any armor behind it this time, as they're going to be forced onto a full save, which should guarantee at the very least the lead coming out of this half, and an even bigger gap now for Enemy potentially to close onto their T site as we jump over to things there. So, if you're Games Academy, they're just going to split themselves up, play it nice and slow. Once again, Enemy have taken a risk, but right now Tacio is the only player committing to this push, and he's got the SMG. He's only going to find 1, but should have been able to spot a lot more of this aggression that's coming in there, and even SHOOWTiME just peeks in there nice and easy and goes for a 2nd kill, so they know now just how much is committed to that B site, so they're going to be, okay, this should be a fairly simple take on the A site then, and that's exactly what they're going to go for. Anomaly gets a good flash, so it's going to hold it back for a little bit longer, and this could give time to rotate or flank, but Anomaly shut down by Phoenix. I think that was a mid-air jumping headshot with the Tech 9 to shut down Anomaly. And again, at this point for Enemy, just unfortunate that they did get found out so soon there. The hold was good, but there wasn't a good follow-up from it in terms of chasing the other players still in Banana. So they picked up that 2nd kill and then tried to basically just run into the remaining players of GA. Because you have to remember, at the time of that first kill happening, most of Games Academy were sort of still stuck in this general area, so they hadn't really committed to the A site just as of yet. If they could have gotten that and then tried to chase them up there, they might have been able to pick up a couple more kills and make that a little more manageable. A couple upgrades could have been scavenged if they had gone for that aggressive play as well. But there's also, of course, the very obvious risks that come into play due to that, and I think they were just hoping on the fact that Games Academy would have taken this as a very straightforward round, considering Enemy would have been on the save. They could have just rushed all 5 into that B site, but we have seen in more recent times too. Koosta is, by the way, going to be able to pick up a kill and gets his weapon of choice. Will he be able to keep it is the question, and no, he won't. But anyway, going back to my original point, the main problem is that we've seen teams in recent times evolve their strategy more to what we see happening in pretty much every eco round, where they just play it slow instead, because it's a lot safer. Obviously, they can hold up very cheeky positions, and if you try to go in and you don't check an angle or something, then you could be rewarded pretty nicely with 2 to 3 kills, but for the most part, it's just safer and more successful to just play things slowly on those eco rounds and hope you can just waltz your way into the right site, which is exactly what happened there for Games Academy after they find out about that 4 stack on B. So again, we'll go into the buy for Enemy, but not a whole lot happening here on that CT side, as we've seen time and time again. They're going to try to do something a little bit different this time. A bit of, you'd almost call this a sort of triple hold up here. There's another team that likes to do this a lot. I can't remember exactly. I know Moses brought it up one time on another cast, but I can't remember the exact team that used to... Oh, it's, this is an iBuy... If I remember correctly, I think this was something that iBuyPower used to do, where they sort of hold up 3 over here. They basically pull off the Alamo by the porch and hope that when they come back in there through the overlook in the A site itself, they don't actually notice that, and they can just pick them off on both angles, and it's quite surprising to see that many people over there. But, although it is a very underused strat nowadays, we don't actually see it come to much fruition here, as they're just going to go right for the entry here onto that B site. Molly's all over the place. Uber with no safety to hold on, and Relyks, although he's in a good position to counter out this kill, he's not going to be able to find anything just as of yet. So he has to sneak his way in. And again, same thing as before when we had a situation like this rise. Similarly, Relyks can't really commit himself to the site due to the smokes, and it would be very unwise to do so. So still in a very manageable position. We can see there too that Hen tries to take a luck shot. Doesn't really pay off, so as that smoke fades away, Relyks is going to get an easy kill. Phoenix did find the response onto Anomaly, so again, we're still looking at a pretty good lead for Games Academy, and this kill from SHOOWTiME and Phoenix should again basically seal the deal. And there's SHOOWTiME picking up yet another one there to shut down Relyks. So Games Academy still holding strong there. Enemy a little bit off on the positioning still here, and like we said before, these takes from Games Academy are, and we see this with a lot of North American teams too, so this isn't just something something that happens with enemy. But Games Academy are, again, just playing their T side so quick. It's not even that they're playing an aggressive T side either. It's just the takes are happening so fast that enemy just aren't able to respond to it, rotate into it, even with full guns. The call is not happening quickly enough, or the positioning is not really attuned for a play such as that, so they can't rotate in fast enough, and it's just leaving them with not enough defense, so they're oftentimes just left with no choice but to save. And again, we'll go into another eco round here for the players, and I'm gonna assume that was a smoke bug on GoTV, but beyond that, I don't know. I think it was a smoke bug, but without that, that would have been quite the fail on the hands of that player from Games Academy. But thankfully, it's managed very well by Games Academy anyway. They do manage to close that out. Pretty sure that was a smoke bug though, so yeah, I don't think he really messed that up that badly, as he wasn't even looking at him. Alright, so Games Academy now 10-4. We'll see again, the enemy do have that full arsenal. No op still sitting on Koosta, and looking at the stats, even without that op, Koosta still very much so the anchor for his team. A lot more evenly spread, with the exception of Uber at this point on enemy. Oftentimes when you do see these guys having a good game, it's normally Koosta and like one other player, and it varies to that player. It's normally Koosta and one other player just sort of, I hesitate to say carrying, but really holding up the rest of the team in the matchup. But you can see it's a little more evenly spread. Unfortunately, that doesn't lend much to them just because of the fact that, again, they're still down by 6 points here. Games Academy very much so have the advantage on this map, and they're going to get it once again. Hen finds the first kill over here onto Koosta. Going to have a chance to find another one. Hen's going to have to peek back out to look for it, but he's not going to get the initial chance. Now he comes out, though, and there's Tacio finding the first shot there onto Anomaly. He's going to press forward with his teammate, but unfortunately caught with an A in his hand. MAiNLiNE is going to be able to find this kill over onto Lucas. Tacio quick with the response, and this is another thing, too, that we've been seeing from enemy, is that although enemy seem to be fairly decent at finding a lot of these trades in the later portions of the round, it's just because of the fact that they're getting picked off so well initially that they're left still in a disadvantage spot despite getting these trades. So we'll see again, enemy trying to go for a quick retake here. Hen hugging that Jesus pole like crazy, and Relyks is going to be able to hold his own for the time being, but eventually everybody is going to surround him, and that'll end the half very much so in the favor of Games Academy. 11-4 now in their favor, and honestly that does not leave a whole lot of work they have to do on that second half. 11-4 is still recoverable for the most part, but it does sort of reach into that position now where if Games Academy are going to be able to pick up the pistol round, it should be a fairly simplistic closeout from that point forward there, as that should get them up to about 14 points. Really only one gun round to tie point, and one more away from that, which would be an eco more than likely in the case of the T's. One more away from that until they're pretty much home free. So enemy, like we said before, same issues that I've personally spotted a lot of times in the past, just resurfacing once again here on the side of enemy on that CT side. Now in games like this where these issues have popped up, we have seen a much better T side, but still down by as much as they are now, it's very hard indeed for them to make this comeback at this point. So we'll see what they can do, but it's definitely going to be a hard job for enemy to pull back off here. And Games Academy looking as good as they are tonight. Again, some very good performances coming out from some of the individuals here. Tacio specifically, constantly the member finding those entries there on the T side as well, up at 15-10 at this point. And a couple other teammates sitting pretty close too. And the Opper at 13. Phoenix, another one of the Riflers at 12, and the same thing for SHOOWTiME down at 11. So these guys not looking bad at all, and there's going to be a big opening battle. Auto Director, for some reason, does not want to seem to get onto it, but it'll be a 2-for-3 trade. Back over there, closer to the A site, but enemy actually don't seem satisfied with picking those kills up by mid-choke, so they're actually going to fall back and try to take banana instead. However, one of the two players still alive hasn't spotted this, just in case this is a sort of random active aggression, and they end up falling back and going up through mid-choke. SHOOWTiME is going to spend some time just hanging out over here on the A site just in case, but that puts a lot of pressure onto Lucas over here, as he's going to have to hold off essentially a 1 versus 3, picking up probably 1, maybe even 2 of these kills in the process, because we can see the smokes coming in, but as you see now from the minimap, it's actually going back over here towards the A side anyway. So SHOOWTiME back over here in pit, hugging the pole right now. Pop Flash, not necessarily sure it's going to go where he wants it to, but there's a good one. Now he's got to pop out and find the kills, and thankfully enemies scattering like flies get themselves into safe spots. But SHOOWTiME's ready for the pop, and he looks away at probably the worst time, so Anomaly is going to be able to find SHOOWTiME there. They take him down, and it looks like they should be able to pick up the pistol here. Lucas fishing for something. That nade goes deep. Does get some nice damage back over there onto Anomalies. It brings it down to 44, but now the smoke's gonna come back out. Not as bestly positioned as it could be for his current spot, but as we see him wrapping out there, he's gonna get found out first by Koosta, and they will be able to take him down without losing any more of their players there. So there's enemy. They pick up the pistol, and like we said before, if we had seen Academy Games, or Games Academy, sorry, not Academy Games. If we had seen Games Academy picking up that pistol, it should have been a fairly simplistic closeout, but this does make the situation a lot more recoverable by enemy by picking things up here. At the same time, they're not in the clear just as of yet, because we've seen time and time again these North American teams going on sort of an eco spree back and forth here, And it tends to happen a lot in the second half there, too, after these players have sort of exercised some of their strategies, and the second team is a little bit iffy. So if Games Academy can pick up this second, upset the economy here from enemy, and get themselves into the driver's seat as far as that is concerned, then that situation could get turned around very quickly. But if they make it out of this one, then they're sort of in the safety area for the time being, at the very least. It's going to be a bit of a long road, but they'll be able to keep themselves on it for longer than a mile or two. And now we can see enemy 2 very swiftly moving through that mid choke point. Games Academy not doing a whole lot to resist it at this point in time here. They're focusing a lot more over here at the choke points. You can see SHOOWTiME just outside of arches, and they know that too. MAiNLiNE ducks through it, and we can see koosta taking some heat. koosta's going to commit anyway, but there's SHOOWTiME shutting down one. He knows MAiNLiNE's here. A little bit of trouble as he hugs the pole, down to just 1 HP, but now more pressure gets applied outside of the library. Thankfully, Anomaly, he's able to handle that, but it's a little bit too hot now for enemy, and they're going to fall back through middle now at this point. Games Academy should be able to spot this, but again, it's the same problem. There's still a lot of these players that are on that A site, and are putting a lot of pressure onto Lucas to hold things. He's going to drop the... He's not going to hurt the bomb carrier, but he's going to drop he's going to drop Relyks as he starts to work his way into this site. Lucas looking for another one over here on the Uber, but MAiNLiNE's starting to handle things. Lucas, though, is still very much so in this, and now he's got an AK to work with as well. MAiNLiNE comes in there, he finds another kill in the hand, but look at Lucas and Tacio, they just clean it up. Lucas gets the 3K, holding from new spot like an absolute beast. Doesn't falter that entire time, gets a free AK for his troubles, and as we were talking about before, the eco spree now begins. We'll see what enemy do decide to do here, is they might just strike back with the Tech 9 armor buy of their own, but it actually doesn't look like that. They're not really going to be in for that sort of thing. That actually happens quite a bit in North America. And Games Academy should be able to actually clean this round up nice and easily, as enemy don't really seem to want to try to strike back. Now, they're going to respect them, but honestly, I'm not even sure if they can really afford that at this point. Good nade stack there, too. Immediately takes down Relyks right at the beginning of the round. Like I said before, they're already down here by what is now, once again, just right back up to a 7-point lead here for the members of Games Academy. So it's not like they can really afford this. I honestly would have thought they would have just gone for the aggressive buy up here. If they could still manage to pull this off with PT50s, more power to them, but we already saw on the CT side just how weak their eco rounds were, so I'm not really expecting them to be able to pull this back off again. There's a good opening kill, or opening 2 kills here from both Anomaly as well as MAiNLiNE, but when they get onto the site again, they've got Hen to deal with here, and he's picking them off one by one. Down to 8 HP, but SHOOWTiME's there to support things now. He's going to find that final kill into Uber to shut things down. And now Games Academy with a firm lead, now up to an 8-point advantage at 13, just 3 more away from closing things out. And for enemy, they're actually going to go for the usual double save route here. So we're going to see a very big buy coming out from them, which should include the op and all its sort of fixins there for koosta. But, like we said before, now this leaves Games Academy at 14 points. So you're not really leaving yourself a whole lot of leeway room in case mistakes pop up, which, I mean, we've already seen so far in this match, which is very, very likely to happen now. In Games Academy, they're even going to try to abuse this lead that they've got a little bit here. They get aggressive in hopes of just shutting down the offensive from enemy before it can even go anywhere. I honestly would have thought, again, that they would have gone for the buy, but just not worth it, I suppose, at this point in time for enemy. So they press forward here. Again, the quick take on Rap side that there's not a whole lot of resistance to, but as they spawn it, there's Phoenix already picking up 2. The Molly's going to go down, should do some more damage, but even as they pop out, finding another kill, switches to the pistol, finds another one, almost going to be able to pull off the ace there, but Tacio does end up stealing things. Nonetheless, very well held by Phoenix once again, picking up those 4 kills just so casually, too. And there you have it, the 14 points onto the board from Games Academy. Enemy goes into their buy, as we talked about before. It should have quite a bit of sort of oomph behind it, including the full utility from koosta with the armor and his op. But if koosta doesn't come out in a huge way, nor does the rest of the team, if they don't come out in a very big way as well here on this round, then it's GG at that point forward, as they're pretty much expending all of their assets here. The biggest buy we're going to see in the next round if they lose things once again is, I mean, we can maybe see a Galil or 2 and an AK with light armor and no utility in the mix, but beyond that, it's going to be a very broken round, and I already talked about this a few rounds ago. We've already seen just how well those broken rounds, go for enemy, and it's not very well at all. So Games Academy will pretty much have it in the bag at that point and won't have anything to worry about, at least until they jump onto that second map. So as we take a look at this round once again, enemy taking things nice and slow, trying to take a page out of Games Academy's own book. This is very similar to the things they were doing. Now, I will say Games Academy had a little bit more trouble working the initial take just because enemy was a little bit more proactive on trying to hold things. We can actually see that evolving this time too, because they knew that they've really been liking that Rap side push that they've been going for so often here. So Hen is actually going to put a smoke on it this time. That's going to screw up the initial plans, and we can see that it's done so too, because enemy, it's not like they're still moving forward with things by going back over on Porch Rap side too, and Oh, this is really messing with them. You can see it on Anomaly, too, as he tries to find his way in. But there's Koosta with that up now. Finds the first pick over here on a Tacio. Hen's going to get himself in the way. Finds one. Combos into two. Doesn't get the third as Anomaly is going to be able to find the trade. But nonetheless, the damage has been done. They know the bomb is here. They know it's going to push itself in. So SHOOWTiME's able to wrap in. No resistance on the library push. So that'll be a second player. A good pop-up from Anomaly, though. You can see that. He's going to be able to find the kill on his SHOOWTiME. Phoenix with the trade, but he spots Koosta before he gets himself onto the site. Now, however, he does rewind that location, too. And as he drops down through the truck, that's going to be a swipe kill from Koosta. Takes down Phoenix, and it's just Lucas now trying to clutch this out in 1-on-2. Coming back over here, over through the library avenue, but it'll be a very hard retake indeed. Koosta already spotting him. Tries to get that headshot, but not going to be able to find it. But that molly, we'll see if it goes into his spot. A little bit too far back, in my opinion, so shouldn't really force him to do all that much. He knows MAiNLiNE's on this site, and he's also sort of trapped himself here in a cubby, too, but he's committing to it. But not a whole lot he could have done in that case. That molly was aimed just a little bit higher or lower to get the bounce, then maybe we could have seen that pluming and shooting him out, but Koosta is, once again, going to be able to shut things down there. And again, that round coming off mainly off of the hinges of his own play. He finds the opening kill, gets that one player in a pit who was causing them a little bit of trouble and preventing their movement onto the site itself, and then finish things off with a third kill as well. So, enemy keep themselves in this. Games Academy, obviously one that's very delicate CT side now, are going to be broken immediately after the loss of the first gun round. I don't think it's as desperate as some may think. In fact, it's actually pretty good for them right now. Phoenix, you can already see, sitting at 4.2k, so he actually could have bought. So could have some of the other team at this point in time, but they do decide against it, obviously. With the big cushion they have, they can afford to swipe a couple rounds just to get the bigger buy-off and by trying to finish things off that much quicker. But this does allow Koosta, of course, and the rest of the team to get potentially a little bit more of a free round on the board here, which could stack their money up a little bit more, and a lot of things on the closeout to be that much harder for Games Academy as well. So, enemy, again, same thing as that previous round, not really taking a whole lot of liberty in terms of trying to play things super aggressively because they do know it's going to be an eco, or they have a pretty good suspicion, of course, that it could be an eco here, but due to that fact, they play it nice and slowly for the same reasons we saw Games Academy doing the same exact thing on the previous half. And they're just sort of going to walk their way over here towards Arches. There's actually no resistance at all on that A site. You can see everybody from Games Academy is either at the transitory area back over here by Highway between A and B, or just on the B site completely, as I think they were expecting the take to come in there. And what's a bit unfortunate here for Games Academy is their theories are going to be, oh, we're right about this, as they roll their way in. You can even see Hen looking for more kills back over there by Banana, too, but that's not the case. They'll lose Uber as Hen's going to be able to pick up that kill, but the problem is now they're on this A site, enemies confusingly looking around like, where the hell is everybody? And now they're going to get that free plant here, and there's not a whole lot that Games Academy are going to be able to do about this, even in the 5-on-4 man advantage at this point. They'll move in and post up for exits, but I highly doubt there's going to be a proactive attempt to retake the site, as they don't even have a kit either. So it wouldn't be the best decision in the world. So there's SHOOWTiME. He's going to follow Relyks as he gets that pop flash out of the site. Anomaly, I'm sure, is going to be a little bit sneaky with his exit back over here towards alt middle, too. And there are some players looking out for that spot right now. Most specifically Lucas here, but Anomaly may have already been able to spot some of these guys. And as Anomaly moves out, that should be the foot being spotted here. Lucas is going to miss his opening shots, too, so he's going to move in and try to get aggressive upon this, but can't see him initially. Moves out, caught completely off angle, so enemy actually handled this very well. And Tacio is going to be the only player left alive. They won't be able to find him. He's in a very safe position back over here on the B site, but at the same time, no additional impact being placed on the enemy. All 4 players that went for the plant keep themselves alive and go into the next round. The only player that died was the one that was investigating the B site, just trying to throw the fake, and obviously, again, that's really only one AK tossed over to the CTs when they were going to buy in this round anyway, so you can see he's able to upgrade himself to a full buy with utility now for Tacio, but he's still going to basically buy out anyway, so it's not like it's a huge advantage given to the members of Games Academy. They do have to be careful, though, those very small things, because they can amount in very big ways with things like a MAiNLiNE play. We saw how much that slowed down the play on the first gun round too, as they really did want to push back over towards that wrap side, as we saw in a lot of their anti-eco rounds, or a lot of their eco rounds as it was. I should correct myself. But because of that molly and that smoke that was thrown into play, it held enemy back for a couple additional seconds, and the low enemy still ended up taking the round. Things like that do end up helping out in the long run of things, and Games Academy, with the firing squad waiting around the corner there, that's going to be an easy shutdown on the Uber. They know that at least 2 of these players are here, so I imagine, again, they don't know what's happening on the side either, as he doesn't even get himself around the corner. They might try to poke with it a couple additional players, but I highly doubt that they're still going to follow through with taking the bomb up to this place. And you can see Koosta with that op. He gets himself on top of logs, looking to see if he can find anybody either in an emo corner or sitting behind Nubox there, but not going to be able to find them just as of yet. And they'll keep Relyks here once again to throw that fake. Games Academy got caught by this when it happened in the previous round, and Relyks might take the shot onto SHOOWTiME. as neither can see each other at this point, but he's in a very usual spot. And he takes a little bit more heat there too. Dropped to 41 HP, but in the meantime, the rest of his team, one of them is already through their way back over here through arches too, so this is going to be a complete surprise potentially to Hen, and there you go, he picks up that kill. So great flank lined up, and overall, enemy very swift with their entries now coming into this one too. Phoenix is going to try to hold things here as Anomaly and koosta roll away and finds one, but traded back out, so that's not going to matter too much. 2 CTs left alive. SHOOWTiME getting the heat into this one. He's going to find that 1 kill in the main line, and no damage traded back onto him too, so it's bound to a 2-on-2. And Games Academy have a very real chance of doing this. You still have that Molly on SHOOWTiME. Both of these players are on the site and at very low HP, so they can't afford to sit in that. One's going to bounce in. Shouldn't really plume over to koosta. It's going to force him out just a little bit there, but won't really end up forcing him. Unfortunately, it forces him to look away, and SHOOWTiME is going to pick up the kill on the Opera because of that. So now it all falls into the hands of Relyks. No flashes for this retake. He's going to be blind around this corner. They start the defusal process, but out he pops. He can't find it. Now they know for sure where he is. So they've just got to train their sights in, but they let him peek out, and he's going to find 1 kill. Messy on the second one. SHOOWTiME picks it up, though, and it's going to be very close indeed. Will he actually be able to get this defuse? So close, but it's not going to happen. An enemy just barely sneaked through with another round. They're going to be up to 8 points now, and they keep themselves in this for the time being. So with a round like that, of course, enemy getting very lucky indeed. That obviously, again, that should have still been something that Relyks was able to clean up a lot easier, but it's actually amazing that they let Relyks peek out that far without a proper response coming on. I believe it was SHOOWTiME that was holding things there, and it was a bit surprising that he didn't actually pick up that kill quicker, and even when we saw there, Relyks had a lot of time to transfer that spray. Thankfully, he was messy, so we saw the response, but at the end of the day, just not enough time left, and now Games Academy, they want revenge at this point. Great pop flash around there over towards the car angle, and they're going to be able to throw themselves right out there and pick up an opening kill on Uber. Safely falling back just because of the fact that, again, there's more there. They don't want to take the risk on that, and Relyks realizes exactly why they would have fallen back to wait for Relyks to retreat and then go for the AK pickup. So you saw it there just as I was switching over to his point of view that he was tossing something over that fence. That was his teammate's gun, as he wants to get rid of that now, and you can even see too. Well, I can't actually highlight that. He's got Uber's gun, as you can see from the description. So just wanted to get rid of that extra gun in the hopes of not giving Games Academy an unnecessary upgrade, and this throwing the round very much off after they already pick up an initial kill to put that into a 4-5 advantage against them. Still, though, very superior arsenal for enemies, so this 1 kill shouldn't really matter too much. If they had gotten 2, then it would have been a bigger problem. And as we see here, koosta's going to roll out. It does let Hen get a kill. Thankfully, koosta gets the trade, but that's not what they need, though, is now they're going to be another man up. But thankfully, Relyks finds his way in. Taco gets the response. Relyks with the trade again. That does put it into a 2-on-2 now, and they know that this take is coming over here towards the A site. I don't believe there's any kits for the CTs. I just want to check if there's one on the ground somewhere. Doesn't look like it, so I don't believe they really have anything to hold this off. Nonetheless, Games Academy going to roll in, but it's pretty easily managed. Koosta finding the final 2 kills. It's actually a pretty big round for Koosta. Again, picking up the 2 kills. Him and Relyks sort of the tag team so far. They seem to be some of the bigger fraggers on the team as of yet, but look at it. It's koosta, MAiNLiNE, along with Relyks, and I'm only getting into this one as well with a pretty good hold-up, but I actually, not to highlight something like this, but I actually, if I remember correctly, Uber, I don't think he's gotten a kill yet in this half. So he's sort of just been hanging behind the rest of his teammates. And I don't think, like I said before, I don't think he's actually gotten a kill since they've switched sides over to T. So not having the best luck for Uber, but thankfully the rest of his team is here to help out. Right at the beginning of this round here, too, I think Anomaly gets hit by a grenade, so he's going to get dropped down to 63 HP. Enemy trying again to push things over towards Banana to make their way into this side as well, but not going to be able to catch anything just as of yet. Games Academy sort of go for this firing squad strategy, too, as we can see both Lucas along with SHOOWTiME just waiting around this corner. Enemy know it's a possibility, so they themselves sort of hold back here, too. And they might just all wrap around this corner together. But Games Academy see how slow this is moving in, so pop flash, actually, you could see that was enemy's pop flash, and that doesn't go very well. As they actually have to pull off their plans. Thankfully, his CTs were throwing out a smoke anyway, so it really wouldn't have worked out as well as they were planning it to, but nonetheless, it's not really going to make for a very good initial push into this point. But Lucas actually hiding over here by the porch. You can see he's about to toss this nade back out, so he may peek this or at least reapply the smoke as it is now. So won't actually be going back out. That's just for his own safety and to hold the actual pushback, as the rest of enemy, they go back to their trademark avenue of taking this A set that they've been using for most of this half so far. Flash goes right into the face of Relyks, but a little slow on Phoenix. Nonetheless, he picks up the kill. Taco finding another one over here, too. He's actually going to combo that into 2 for himself. Dropped to 5 HP in the process, but nonetheless finds koosta and Anomaly. And now Uber trying to find his way over here onto the B site, but he's burning alive, down to 33 HP. Lucas not moving an inch. He moves out there, not going to find the kill, but now SHOOWTiME's here to help out. He picks up the first kill on the MAiNLiNE, and Lucas will shut down Uber. And now these guys have the situation pretty much secure at this point. As we talked about before, very long road for Enemy to get themselves back into this. They were doing a great job of doing so, but with the rounds being so close, their economy never really got to a sort of brewing point or a stabilization point where they could continuously buy round after round here. And they're going to force it up now, but you can see just how weak it is. Koosta, actually, instead of making the choice to donate some more guns over to teammates, just decides to go for the bot buy up here, and the rest of his guys are now going to be stuck. They've all got Arbor, granted, but one's on a P250 and the rest are on Tech 9s, and fairly limited utility when you look at the entire team, too. They've got 4 smokes, but no mollies, very limited flashbangs, only 3 of them, 4 of them, apologies, I did miss that one over there on the koosta. So they've got 4 flashes for the entire team, and that is not a good entry make, especially if the smokes are being used very early on in the round, and not for one big entry. And you also have to consider things like post plants here too. They're going to be able to line up a good smoke wall, but then they've only got 1 re-smoke coming out for the re-entry on the CT side of things. So they've got to hope this entry goes flawlessly and they can keep everybody alive in the process. But already, again, time is also going to be wasted because Games Academy are in a very secure spot. They've got everything they need. Some smokes have already been used to hold things back over here on the approach from Banana, but they still got mollies to use and everything, and we saw just how impactful those were in the previous round, too, dulling down the health of that late entry coming into the B site. Back on round 24 there. So, enemy, Relyks specifically, looking to see if he can find anything over here by the spools on the SHOOWTiME, but SHOOWTiME here's that op shot, so not going to be too keen on re-peeking it, and here's those mollies now that we were looking forward to see. The pop flash comes out first to allow Lucas to come out with the molly itself, and they're going to spot it. They still know they're held back there, and they can see there's 3 of them now, too, so the rest of the members over here from Games Academy are actually going to take liberty in this and start to push in towards them. Anomaly has a really good position because I don't really think they're expecting to come in, but there's Hen to prove me wrong. He comes in, he picks up 1 kill, apologies. 2 more kills coming right back out for Games Academy, and again, this push was doomed from the start as it got spotted out and those mollies are in position, so Games Academy just shut it down. All 5 alive on the final round, and they're going to take map number 1, 16-9. Is going to be the score. Map number 2, guys, and this was the pick from the members of Enemy as well, so not necessarily the best start. A good wrap back over there on the T side to pick up a couple additional rounds, but only 4 rounds on CT side. Not the best situation in the world, and they definitely have some things to talk about on that CT side, specifically heading into map number 2, which is going to be over on Cache, guys, and that will be coming up in just a few minutes, so be sure to stick around for it, and we'll have map number 2 for you in just a few moments.